right, welcome everyone. It's Monday night, time for our course spotlight. I'm Kathy Lawson, Chief Knowledge Officer of the Great Discovery. These are my favorite sessions because if you're like me, I love to learn, you love to learn, and we learn from each other, and it's just a great time. So tonight will be amazing because we have Blaine Bartlett with us tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about Blaine. Blaine consults, advises, and coaches globally with leaders, executives, companies, and governments. He is internationally recognized as a leadership development master. He's the CEO of Avatar Resources, a global leadership consultancy that he founded in 1987. He's worked with entrepreneurs and leaders of many of the largest and smallest companies and organizations on the planet to change the way leadership is used to foster thriving through compassionate capitalism. Blaine is co-host of Office Hours on Apple TV, as well as being featured in the TV series World's Greatest Motivators, and the movie and book Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. He's also an adjunct professor at Beijing University, managing director of the Global Coaching Alliance, and a longtime member of the Transformational Leadership Council. Tonight, Blaine's going to talk to us about his course, The Secrets to Sustainable Success. So it's all yours, Blaine.
Okay, Kathy, thank you very much. Yeah, I get embarrassed when people read that CV. There's way too much stuff in there. So when you get to be as old as I am, you start accumulating things. So the point of the program that we're going to be talking about here, the secrets of sustainable success, in the work that I do and the work that we do, scalability has always been something that has concerned the business owners and the business leaders that we work with. How do we scale our organization? And scaling implies how do we grow it? And a lot of conversation around scaling focuses on infrastructure build out. And certainly I think that, the TGD is a great example of this. I joined back in 2024 on this platform, and just watching what has occurred in the last year plus has been nothing short of miraculous. And the scaling side of that is very evident. And with that comes all kinds of bruises. Things happen and things break, and we have to go back and do all kinds of different things here. And that's from the view on the external, looking into what's going on with the organization. Inside the organization, hair pulling occurs. Stress occurs. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that begins to build out there. So one of the things that we started taking a look at was scaling is one phase of an organization's growth, and organizations have to grow. Nature has been probably my greatest teacher in life. And there is nothing in nature that doesn't look to continuously express itself in fuller and greater ways. And there's seasonality to all of this, for sure. I mean, you've got spring when things start to bud. You've got the full bloom of summer, and then you've got the kind of the winnowing that begins to occur in fall, and then we go dormant and kind of regroup in winter, with the intent of reemerging again. And that reemergence, from a metaphoric standpoint, actually is analogous to scaling. So when we look at the lens, through the lens of nature, the core of all successful natural phenomena has to do with a continual connection to the spirit that informs that which is growing. And I don't mean spirit in a religious sense. I mean spirit in the sense of there's something about everything that we apprehend, everything that we view, that has a kernel of life that gives, that looks to be born, and that looks to be born in greater and greater manifestations. The problem with scaling, if that's the primary focus, is that as we get bigger, we begin to lose connection to that kernel, that spirit. And rather than being a business with a mission, and every business starts off with some sort of a mission, some sort of a passion. Usually, the founders hold it. Instead of being that business with a mission, and we use the business as a way to express that mission, at some point in that scaling process, there's a migration that occurs. There's a little flip that occurs. And instead of being a business with a mission, you now are a mission with a business. Or I've got that backwards. You've got a mission with a business to deliver, and you begin to become a business with a mission as an afterthought. And that afterthought gets further and further diminished as the organization grows. And you see this in the way that organizations begin measuring impact. And it's a migration away from impact relative to the mission of the organization. And the impact measures become quarterly metrics around ROI, around profitability, around traditional business metrics. So with all of that being said, we started taking a look at how do we address that embedded, and it is embedded, that embedded challenge to, when organizations and leaders start to scale their organization. They want to become bigger, they want to become better without losing that connection. So we backed up a little bit, and we started taking a look at just how do we define success. And the way that we've actually defined that for ourselves in the work that we do with our clients, success, and we're looking at sustainable success, not just episodic success. Sustainable success. Sustainable success is the process of developing the capacity to continuously start over. That's essentially what sustainable success comes down to. And I think TGD is a great example of this. You've had to start over. You've had to start over. You've had to start over. Some stuff got tossed out. And we went, well, that didn't work as well as we thought. Let's go back to the drawing board and reinvent this. Starting over without losing connection to that spirit, that underlying profound mission is really what we're looking at. So I'm going to just grab my screen here for just a moment. I'm not going to do PowerPoint by death here, but I do want to show something. So let me see here where I'm at. Okay. Okay, go ahead and bypass. I'm not sure what it wants to bypass, but let's see here. Okay, and it's not going to let me. Okay.
Sandra, if you're the host, you may need to set him up as a co-host.
He's a co-host. He should be.
Okay, so it's giving me Chrome tabs. Okay, here. Okay, I'll just kind of drop into this. I was hoping to share a PowerPoint or a keynote, but I'll share this instead. This is the program that we have up on TGD. The idea here was to look at how do we go about creating this, and the modules are broken out. And when we started looking at developing the capacity to continuously start over, we did tons of interviews. And I've personally, literally have trained over 300,000 people over the course of my career, which spans almost 50 years now. We've touched over 1 million people in the work that we do. And just in the surveys about some of the most effective leaders that we've worked with, what are the capacities that they have seemed to develop? I mean, really, they've developed these capacities that allow them and allow their organizations to successfully scale. They're able to handle, the stuff that comes up. So resilience becomes a major piece of this. Module 1 was self-awareness. These leaders had mastered the ability to really notice what's going on in themselves, but also what's going on around them. So awareness, it's the required foundation of being able to continuously start over. The second capacity that came into play here had to do with courage. Setting myself up, but also working with my people so that they had developed the capacity in themselves to take actions in the presence of fear and uncertainty. And that was a big one, because a lot of the mindset that's in place is you don't move until your boss has told you to. So that is not going to be something that is going to be useful when we're looking at scaling an organization, because people now need to become innovative. Creativity becomes, one of the metrics by which we start looking at what we're doing here. So how do we take action in the presence of fear and uncertainty? That's what courage translates to. This idea of discernment. And I actually took this, and this is my specific language for this, but discernment had to do with, from a Buddhistic perspective, how do we notice what's going on? And there's basically in Buddhistic philosophy, there's four levels of discernment. But we only really work with three of them. The first has to do with judgment. Judgment is an organizing principle. It's how we basically direct action in an organization. Judgment, and it revolves around a linguistic frame around good, bad, right, wrong, that sort of thing. Those values-laden judgments, those values-laden assessments. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. You get people really polarized when you're working from a judgment perspective. But discernment, you're looking at through the lens of, what do we need to fix here? Something's broken. There's a blame component that judgment absolutely encompasses. A level above that, and this is where the development work comes into play, is you start looking at a very simple way of making evaluations. And evaluation from a linguistic perspective has to do with, is this working or not working? And you'll notice in that language, is this working or not working? It's just an assessment of viability. Did it work or didn't it work? It has nothing to do with blame assignment. It has nothing to do with right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just, did this work or did this not work? That frees up the system, that frees up the people's thinking, that frees up the organization actually to begin exploring different opportunities, different options. The level above that one has to do with simply distinctions. And this is not looking through the lens of working, not working. It's not looking through the lens of judgment. Is this good, bad, or right, or wrong? It's just, and this is where self-awareness comes in. People and leaders that have mastered this third level, which we literally call distinctions, just noticing distinctions. Hadn't noticed that before. I'm not assigning meaning to it at this point. I'm just noticing. Had not noticed that before. Where did that come from? How did we miss that? Well, what might that, and then you can start looking at how we can utilize that. So this discernment piece is absolutely key to resilience. When you move into judgment, people get contracted. When you move into assessments, you start freeing things up a little bit. Evaluation, when you start looking through the lens of working, not working, people are willing to come back to the trough. The fourth area here that we work with is practice. Everything is habitual, everything works in patterns. And this is the discipline of intentional habit formation. And I just did a full series on one of the different programs that we do, one of the live programs that we do, that took the, Tim, you'll love this. It took, Edward Deming's TQM, the 14 principles, and I remastered them through the lens of leadership. And the practice of intentional habit formation using the TQM structure was one of the ways that we actually began to look at this. But what we're intending to do in the organizations that have actually mastered this are looking at intentional habit formation in service of keeping connected to that worthy ideal, that founding mission, if you will. How do we keep people connected? And it's through we actually layered it on and codified it through a leadership perspective through the TQM model. And there's a lot of leverage there. And then the final piece here had to do with connection to a greater whole. This has to do with inclusion as opposed to exclusion. And the risk of being politically incorrect here, diversity is your silver bullet. Connecting to a greater whole, bringing in as much as you can, different perspectives, different points of view, different ways of looking in service of connecting to that greater whole. So these 5 modules form the body of the Sustainable Success Toolkit. And, there's videos that go with it and whatnot. But that's essentially what we're looking at with this. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen here and kind of go back over to this. And I'll just, at this point, open the floor for conversation, I think, more than anything else, or, questions that might be useful to kind of unbundle and, maybe evaluate and see where we're at.
So any questions or comments? Go ahead and I just want to make a comment, Blaine. So it looks like you put this together from studying leaders in many different types of companies and organizations and all that. So who's your best audience for this? My impression would be people who are in a leadership position or aspiring to become a leader, or people who are starting and growing their business because of the constantly reinventing yourself and starting fresh.
Yeah.
But I'd love your take on who is the best audience for this content.
Solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people that are aspiring into a leadership role, people that are running a team, managing a team. That would be one class, I guess, that we could classify them as. The others would be coaches, people that are working with clients that are looking to build their organizations, that are looking to create greater success for themselves. This model actually works from a coaching perspective extraordinarily well when you're doing some one-on-one work with clients, because they're looking to actually express themselves more effectively and more fully. So particularly when you start dealing and digging into the self-awareness piece, that's actually the foundational piece.
So as a promotion then out to potential learners, those are great audiences to potential audiences to promote to. So great, thank you. Go ahead, Brian.
How much is this course, and do you have a free course that leads people to it?
Great question. It's a $98 course. And I don't have there is a free course on my TGD site that is about designing I think it's called Designing Your Best Life. And it has some components of this embedded in it.
Great. Anybody else?
I got a question for you, Blaine. What's the typical outcome that that someone can expect going through this course? Is it is there something that is tangible as an outcome that they'll be able to apply generally, or is it more of a kind of a philosophical awakening type of a thing?
Tangible, yeah. I'm pretty big on impact, so. A large part of it's predicated on what it is that they want to create for themselves. So ideally, you come in with some objective. I want to, if I've got an organization, I'd like to increase our revenue by 15% over the course of the next calendar year. Okay. So we're going to have some idea from a scaling perspective, what kind of infrastructure build out might we need to do. I mean, those sorts of things will be part and parcel of that strategic initiative. But we're really looking at this from the standpoint of what do we need to bring into the organization to facilitate that process. That's where this actually comes into play. So the intent from an impact perspective is that you can legitimately expect that if you're planning on increasing revenue 15% over the next calendar year, you'll probably hit that mark much faster because you're paying attention to some different things that are not typically paid attention to. And most of these will end up translating directly into an increase in employee engagement. And when you get emotionally engaged people, all of a sudden now you've got resilience, you've got people coming, they're showing up because they want to.
Is this course something that would be a team related course, or is it something that to share it with your entire team? And
that's one of the ideas when I was putting this together. If I've got a small team, this is something that I can kind of take off the shelf, sit down with my team and say, okay, here we go. And there's a full workbook structure that goes with it. And you can actually kind of go through the workbook exercises with your team. And kind of lift the cover up and say, okay, what about this? Where will we see this applying to what we're trying to do now?
Love it. That's going to be great. Thank you, Blaine.
Hey, Doyle.
Hi, Blaine. Thank you so much. This is so powerful and exciting. I'm working with a small company. It's a social services company. One of their goals is to become an employee-owned company by 2033. And I'm thinking this could be a godsend to them at this point in their growth. Any tips on how I might present this to them to get them on board to take the course?
Yeah. Okay, this will put my consulting hat on here. One of the ways that I would probably start that conversation, Doyle, is a question around, for the sake of what do they want to do this? Not why do they want to do this, but for the sake of what? What difference will this make in the qualitative experience that people have of the organization, both inside and outside? For the sake of what? Then the question becomes, how do you actually facilitate achieving that for the sake of what in the most elegant way you can? And then that word elegant I use very precisely here.
Yeah.
From a software coding perspective, elegant software has minimal to no unintended consequences. It's bug-free. So when we start scaling, there are a lot of things that happen that are unintended. So one of the, and this kind of goes to your earlier question, Tim, one of the ways that from an impact perspective that you can start assessing how effective this is the minimization of unintended consequences, because now you've got people kind of on the same page. They're kind of singing from the same hymnal in one sense. And here's the interesting thing about one of the things that happens when people start to scale an organization. Inherent in change, because it's about change, everything changes. Inherent in change is the appearance of conflict. And most people in most organizations do not like conflict. Now, if you just take your hands and rub them together real fast, what happens is you start noticing it gets warm. Conflict, another word for conflict is friction. Friction generates heat. Heat is a cleansing mechanism in an organization. Think of a self-cleaning oven, but enough heat will generate light. Light illuminates things that we've never seen before. So part of the process here, and this is one of the things that's kind of built into this particular program, is how do we actually learn to facilitate an effective conflict, not resolution, a conflict use in the organization, rather than shying away from it. How can we call it in appropriately? Because conflict actually can be our best friend, when we start scaling an organization.
Love it. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Doyle. Joyce.
Yes, thank you, Blaine. Again, great revelations. I was going to ask, should I take the course first and then invite my people that I have to do it with me, or have them get on, purchase the course, do it alone?
Joyce, I've known you a long, long time. And
50 years or so.
Yeah, 50 plus years. As a facilitator, as a trainer, as a coach, as a teacher, as long as you're one lesson ahead, you're going to be fine. So you do module 1 first, introduce it to your team immediately after that, and then you just keep one module ahead of them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Blaine, this is Sandra, and I have a comment. You made me really think about something tonight with the Great Discovery and sustainability and the ability to continue to change. And it's change. The phrase that comes to mind for me is improvising and adapting.
Yep.
This is what sustainability is. And this is something that Dr. Michael Harry taught me. He taught me that, and it came out of his military career. You're improvising and adapting, and that's what they were taught in the military. And that is exactly at the bottom, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
it was really, it made me feel really good when you said, oh my gosh, I can't believe what you guys have done. Because I think every day, Tim and I, we sit here in our team and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, now what to do? And it's like, I guess looking at it through someone else's eyes like yours really kind of hit me tonight. So thank you for that. That was a really big thing for me to feel tonight. It was much needed. It's been a long
I am
haul.
blown away by what you guys have done in such a short period of time, truly. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
just extraordinary.
Some days are
And-
longer than others, and today was long.
I'll bet they
It was
are.
a good time for that to hit. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and the comment that I made to Doyle about keeping that for the sake of what in front of people, that's how we keep them connected to what do you get to have, do, or be if we're successful with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, what do you get to have, do, or be that wouldn't happen if we didn't do this? And that's the difference between motivation and inspiration.
Mhm.
Yeah, motivation is an external thing. Inspiration comes from in here. What do I get to be? What do I get to? I want to express more fully who I am. I get to grow if we do this.
Yeah, and perseverance takes us through it.
Yeah.
The other piece.
And
No,
I'm going to add to Sandra's comment because what you also said that inspired me in this whole thing, because I know we often are always thinking alike, Sandra and I, is that keeping the business tied to the mission. And so
Yeah.
our mission has always been to empower humanity through knowledge and using the great discovery as our core at this. So we, started that way. We've reinvented ourselves. And we're reinventing ourselves again. But you know what? The great discovery is still at our core. And what do people get to be is anything they want to be, because that's what the great discovery does for you. So it's we're back to that. And I love that. So
Love it.
yeah.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's funny that well, not funny, but lack of a better word, it's funny that we're speaking about being. You when you said be, and I haven't met you, but I've heard a lot about you, Blaine. But when you said be, it reminded me of a switch that I made with myself when I wake up in the mornings. Instead of asking myself, okay, what am I going to do today? Recently, I started to ask myself, what shall I be today?
Yeah.
And I think I did that because I'm thinking if I be whatever it is I'm supposed to be today, then the doing will take care of itself and will be in correlation with the being. So thank you for using that word be.
Absolutely. That's Frank Sinatra, doobie doobie doo. No, it's be doobie doobie.
Yes.
Joyce?
Yeah, Miss Joyce.
Yes, I just want to make a request of Blaine if he would come back to one of our Saturdays, make an agreement maybe with Tim and Sandra to come back to one of our Saturdays that we do and maybe do.
Yeah, I'm
I
very
have
open.
Saturday to suggest. Kathy, do you know what I'm thinking?
I do. I already made that note. So you and I are always on the same page.
We have not put this out there yet, but there's going to be coming a very special Saturday event on October 18th. And the Great Discovery course has kind of been quiet because we've been building so much other stuff for the platform that we kind of just set it over here. It's always been there, but we've been doing a little refining to it. And we're going to do a one-day summit on the Great Discovery course. And we're going to invite some course creators to come on to help people with part of their missions and stuff. And so, Blaine, I think your course would be awesome if you're up to it. This would be awesome to have as one of the creators to marry up with the pathways that we've built for the Great Discovery. Would be pretty.
I'm very open to that, and I just looked at my calendar. The 18th is open.
Oh, that's great. Okay,
There's serendipity for us.
So yeah, I know we haven't announced it yet, you guys, but October 18th, we are going to showcase the Great Discovery course.
Just save the date for now, and then we'll give you more details.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Miss Allison.
Allison.
Hello, Blaine. Thank you so much. I just love your whole concept of your course. I also really love the fact that you've broken it up into modules so people can just do the module that they need. I think that's just so clever. And obviously with your background and experience and, all that you've been doing in your life, your menu in your CV is just so phenomenal. And I just feel so blessed to have, been able to listen to you. I love that your course is also based on your whole concept is based on core mission and values, and your whole your description of, we start with a mission with the business, going to a business with a mission. And quite often when businesses, especially businesses that explode quickly, they lose the core values and they lose the culture, and they lose all that good stuff that got them started in the first place, the fire. And on the back of that, I just want to say, Tim and Sandra, thank you so much for still keeping that fire burning, not only in you, but also in us, because the culture and the values, that is really what I love about TGG. I love the fact, as I say, it's accessible, that, everyone can get it because it goes to the world with the translation, and it's affordable with the CPI. So those two things alone about TGG I really love. And I can so see how, what you're doing, Blaine, is so tied in with all of the things that TGG stands for. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Thank you so much to you, Blaine, and Sandra, Tim, Kathy, and the team. Thank you. With that, I'm complete.
Thank you, Allison. And yeah, and you raised a point that I did not mention. The course, I did make it available as a full package, but I also broke out each individual module so that if somebody wants to just kind of bite-size it, they can start with one of the modules and kind of go from there if they want to.
Now, Blaine, you have a brand new course that's coming up, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, we've got a new one coming up called The Hidden Laws of Leadership. It's a program that we've been actually doing live for about 4 years now. And I'm in the process of just recording. We're doing live sessions on LinkedIn with it right now, about 45-minute sessions on live LinkedIn. And then I'm taking those videos and we're remastering them. And that should be available right about mid-October. Is what
Fantastic.
We're looking at.
That will be great. Well, Sandra, why don't we show everyone how to share and promote, find Blaine's course and share it out there and get some traffic up and going. By empowering others, you're empowering yourself. So let's do it.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not logged in, but I'm on my replicated website, right? My demo account. So I'm going to go up to the search and I'm just going to very easily put in Blaine. Okay.
BLAI.
I knew that. Sorry. I knew that. And here,
Blaine.
so this will pull up everything that Blaine is attached to. All right. Remember, we showed this earlier, and he's got the full program, the secrets, right? So we're going to go right to there. And here it is, right? So here's the course. Now I can very simply go right up here, old school. I can grab that link and share it, paste it anywhere, put it in social media, put it in an email, send it in a text. It'll bring the person right to their notice. My replicated site is here. If I add that to the cart, whoever's account is in that, I will get credit for that sale. And then Blaine also gets his credit as the creator. All right. The other thing I can do, I can go over here and I can grab the link right here. Okay. There's another copied link there. There's another copied link if you like using these guys. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn right here. And you can also share to all the social platforms right here. I'm not logged into Facebook, but if I was, it would take me right in to where I could create a post and this link would be attached to it. The rest of these work the same way. So guys, it's set up to be so simple to share. You just make sure you're on your replicated website when you grab that link. So that affiliate equal demo 2, that is my username, okay? And that would be yours. So whatever yours is, if yours is Blaine or if it's Tim or whatever yours is, you want to make sure that that's there. And it's that simple.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that simple. So now everybody can share Blaine's course, get that out there and share it all over the place. All right. Okay, anything else? Anybody, any other questions? Well, Blaine, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been absolutely wonderful. And you really made my day. This was a perfect timing. Everything happens for a reason, right? We had the other creator and it canceled at the last minute. And now this came on and it was a much needed little breath of fresh air. So thank you for that. Much appreciated.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for listening. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, everyone have a great night, and we will be here again tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for our affiliate, creator overview for tomorrow night. Right, Tim?
That's right.